Traveling to the US is no longer simple. Even with a valid visa, you're not guaranteed entry into the country. Every day, I get 2 to 3 messages from somebody who either got stuck or delayed or was questioned a lot at immigration. And this is happening more and more frequently. So, in this video, I'm going to take you through the essential steps of how to clear that immigration interview. And this is going to be important if you're planning your travel to the US in the next few months, especially if it's your first time. And we're going to do it visa category wise. So, for each of the visa categories, E1, B2, H, L, F, M, and J, you're going to discuss the questions and the documents that you need to have with you. I also have a free PDF checklist so that you are completely covered. Let's get started. Hi guys, my name is Shachi and I'm a USA visa coach. Over the last 4 years, I've worked with thousands of applicants, helping them clear the US visa interview and particularly helping them with the DS-160 form and the interview prep. If you want more details of how to work one-to-one with me, do check the links in the description box below. So what exactly happens at immigration? Once your flight lands into the US and before you exit the airport, there is an interaction you're going to have with a CBP officer. CBP is a Customs and a Border Protection Officer. And the intent here is to check who you really are, what's your purpose of travel, how long you plan to stay in the US, and so on. But keep in mind that even though you have a valid US visa, which you got by answering very similar questions and clearing a similar interview, you're still subjected to additional questions at the airport. And the CBP officer has the authority to scrutinize you more, check your luggage, check your hand baggages, and even deny you entry into the US. And this is where trouble has been happening recently. More and more people are being subjected to these questions, and some of them even being denied entry, though they have a very, very valid US visa. A client of mine who's a business traveler, and he travels to US at least 5 to 6 times every year. And he told me that in the last 4 years, he has never ever been questioned at the airport. But on his last visit, which is I think about 10 days back, he was actually asked 5 to 6 questions at the port of entry, and they wanted to know who he was, who exactly he was going to meet, how long he was staying there, where were his meetings, how much money he is carrying with him. And he was really taken by surprise that at immigration, which was just a quick breeze through from him all these years, he was actually subjected to a proper 5 minute interview. Another client is a parent, and this client traveled for the first time to the US to meet his son. And his case was a little intense. He was taken into a separate room and questioned for almost 2 hours. They did a background check, and he was asked to verify and prove that his son was really in the US and all his travel documents and all his intent of travel was genuine. All of the story, don't assume you will breeze through the airport. Be prepared. You need to know exactly what to say, what documents to carry the key. And this is exactly what we're going to discuss in the next part of the video, your immigration strategy. First step in your immigration strategy is going to be to plan your travel to the US. Do not come to the US if you don't have any specific reason to travel. I know there are many people who like to keep things a little bit flexible, so they don't have any agenda and they want to come, explore, chill out a bit, and then figure out their next steps. Well, in the current circumstance, this is going to be highly risky. You need to have a specific reason for travel. It could be tourism, family meetings, conferences, events, visiting a member of your family or a friend, completing a course, education, so on. Whatever it is, you need to be specific. You cannot be vague. In fact, I have a video where I've described my immigration experience at JFK New York, and I'm going to link this video right here. You check it out. The second step in your immigration strategy is going to be to prepare for that interaction with the CBP officer. Now, this is going to depend on your visa category, your own profile, and your purpose. If you're still here, still watching the video, do give it a thumbs up and let me know which visa category you'll be traveling to the US. Whether you're traveling as a tourist, a business, work visa, or student, do comment below and let me know. So, to make this more comprehensive for you, we have divided it into visa category wise. And right below there on the screen, you can see the timestamp for each of the visa category. So, skip ahead to the category that applies to you. Let's start with B1 visas, also known as the business visa. This is a visa used for attending events, conferences, trainings, meetings in the US. It can also be used for observerships or writing exams in the US. Now, when it comes to B1 visa, the most important document that you need to have the day is a proof of your purpose of visit. So this proof could be an invite letter from your company, your client. It could be the registration for the event at the conference, or it could be the confirmation that we have paid for an exam and the exam date is scheduled. This is usually asked at the immigration interview. Now, additionally, when you give the invite letter, you need to take care that it falls within the real and purpose and is not construed as something which refers to working in the US. To give you an example, recently I had a client whose invite letter mentioned words like migration. So it said that he will be going to the US to help his client migrate from their current servers to, the new systems. Now, migration, working on server, working on client systems, could very easily be construed as working in the US and does not particularly fall under DDET. So we had to inform him of this and he got his invite letter modified before his visa interview. So, whatever is your purpose, do check that specifically falls under B1 and does not fall under any work visa category. The second important document for B1 visa is the contact details of a US point of contact. Now, when you come to US under a B1, we will have a point of contact. It could be your employer in the US, your client, or the event or a meeting that you're going for. So make sure that you have complete details of your point of contact. That means their name, their phone number, and the email ID. And do inform them beforehand when you're landing in the US in case they get contacted or the CET officer. A document to carry with you is your return ticket. So like we discussed earlier, you need to have a planned travel to the US, which means that you know exactly when you're exiting the US and you need to have a return ticket which separates their say. Also, it's advisable not to have a very long travel plan under B1 visa and try to keep it within 3 to 4 weeks. Fourth document that you need to have approved are your accommodation reports. So you need to know where exactly you're going to stay in the US. If you're not able to book for the entire duration of stay, make sure that there's a booking for at least the first few days or the first week. And again, have clarity on what exactly is this accommodation, whether it's a hotel or an Airbnb, where is it located, and have the proof of Philippine you when you enter the US. Fifth document to have with you is funds. So you need to have sufficient funds with you to support your stay in the US. These funds could be in a forex card, it could be a valid credit card, or it could even be in your bank card. You can also carry some cash with you, but do keep in mind that there's a limit of 10,000 USD per head when it comes to cash. So if you're carrying cash, just make sure that you're within this limit. Last document which you can carry with you for the B1 visa are all documents which support your TAU's path to India. This could be proof that we're still employed in India, such as your ID card or recent pay slips, or it could be proof that you have your own business or your own company in India. You can also carry personal ties like proof of funding, proof of your home, property, etc. back in India. So in case you're subjected to heavy additional scrutiny, you can always show them that we have strong ties to India and we need to return back for your professional and personal reasons. Next, let's discuss the B2 visas, which is also known as the tourism visa. And this is a visa that you can use to enter US for tourism, visited places, and also for meeting your family and friends. So when it comes to B2 visa, the most important document is the return ticket. So you need to come to US with a planned itinerary and the agenda for the travel, which means that you know exactly when you're exiting the US. So make sure you have a valid return ticket to good. And again, to be safe, do not plan a very long length of stay in the US, like 3 months, 4 months. I would say to be safe in the current circumstances, whatever travel you're planning, keep it within a month. 3 to 4 weeks is ideal. The second document that is important for B2 visa is proof of your accommodation. You need to know exactly where you can be staying in the US. If you cannot book for the entire length of stay, make sure that you are booking for the first few days or the first week. And in case you plan to stay with a friend or a family member, then have their complete address, the contact details, such as their name and email ID with you. The third document required for a B2 visa is a planned itinerary. So you need to have an itinerary of what are the exact places or the exact cities that you need to visit. You don't have to have bookings for all of these cities, but at least a plan that, okay, first 1 week I'm going to stay in New York. The next 1 week, I plan to travel to Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, and then I plan to come back to New York and exit them here. So having a plan and a clear idea of what exactly we will be doing in the US is important. What important thing to have with you is proof of funds. So you need to have sufficient funds for your entire travel plan to the US, and these funds could be in a forex card, bank account, credit, or a debit card. You could also carry cash with you, but do keep in mind that there is a limit of 10,000 USD per head in cash when you enter the US. So if you're carrying cash, you need to stay within this limit. And it's just an important document to have with you is contact details of any friend or family in the US. So if you're visiting the US and you know anybody there, especially if it's a family member, then make sure that you have complete information about them, where exactly they are based, which visa they're on, what do they do, and have their email ID and phone number with you in case it's required. Also make sure that you inform them well in advance of your arrival in the US and that you're going to be listing them as your point of contact in case asked by the CET officer. The next visa category are the work visas H and L, and these are the visas which allow you to live, work in the US, and even get your dependents with you. Now, when it comes to work visas, the most important document is the support letter or the offer letter from your employer in the US. So, your employer in the US would have given you a support letter, which is sometimes also called as the offer letter, telling about your position in the US, your rate of employment, and the visa category under which you are employed. Now, this is important, and keep in mind that if this letter has got outdated, let's say that the support letter is issued to you, but you're actually traveling a few months later, make sure that you get an updated offer letter or support letter from your employer in the US. The second important document which is always asked for work visas is the I-797. So you need to have your I-797 with you when you enter when you enter US, and with your visa. In fact, this is a mandatory document that is required. The third documents which are required, and this is specific to H1B, is your LCA. So LCA is another document which you would have received for your visa interview. You also need it for your immigration. And in case you're working for a client or working for any third party, you also need to have the client letter with you. So the third document which is specific to H1B is the LCA and the client letter. So LCA is a document which you would have got even for your visa interview. The same you need to carry the immigration. And in case you're working for a client or a third party, then you need to have the proof of that employment in the form of a client letter or again a separate letter. The fourth document required for work visas is proof of accommodation. So you need to have details of where exactly you plan to stay temporarily. It could be for the first 1 week or this first 15 days. And this could be an accommodation that you have booked yourself or your company is giving it to you. But it's important to have the details such as where exactly it's located, what is the address, and how long you plan to stay in this temporary accommodation. Fifth document that is required for the work visa is contact details of your point of contact. So you will have a point of contact from your company in the US. It could be a manager, it could be an HR, or it could be somebody from the travel desk of your company. So make sure that you have their complete contact details like their name, their email ID, phone number, and keep them informed and updated about your travel plan and which flight and when exactly you're allowed to be used. The next category are the student visas, the F, J, and L. And I feel that this is a category which is subjected to maximum amount of scrutiny at the airport. So if you're a student, we need to have a valid I-20 or a valid TS-2019. And this is the most important document for you. This document needs to be updated, it needs to be accurate, and you need to have basic information about your university and your course. In case you've deferred your plans to travel, make sure you get an updated I-20 or an updated US-2019. There are many students who get the visa, but they don't go in back intake and they defer it to the next intake. If that's the case with you, make sure that you have the deferred I-20 or the updated 2019. The second most important document for a student is proof of funds. You need to have enough funds to prove at least the first semester of your stay in the US. These funds could be in your bank account, your parents' bank account, it could be in the form of an education loan, or you could have already paid some fees to university and you can take proof of that. Very, very commonly, visa officer asks to prove proof of funds and they want to see bank accounts, they want to see statements. So it will also be a good idea to have your mobile phones with the data on, with the roaming data on rather, so that in case they ask, you're able to log in to your bank account or your banking app from your phone itself and show them the proof of the funds. The third document, again asked very commonly for students, is proof of registration for the classes. Delivery officers ask very, very commonly that have you registered for your first semester classes? And it's good to have the answer as yes, sir. So make sure that you contact your university and ask them what is the procedure to register for the classes for the first semester before you land in the US. Every university is different. Some universities require you to pay some fee and register, whereas some just give you the options and you need to book the classes and block them. But do register for the classes and also remember the courses that you have registered for. Fourth, accommodation details. You need to know where you're going to be staying in the US. If you haven't yet booked your actual accommodation, then do have a temporary accommodation booked, at least for the first week, so that you know where exactly you are headed to from the airport. Fifth, contact details of the university. You need to have the complete contact details of your academic counselor or your advisor, your name, phone number, email ID, and do inform them and keep them updated about your travel plan. Sixth, education documents. Since you're going as a student, your past education documents. It could be your bachelor's, master's, 10th, 12th. Take all of it with you so that you can prove your genuineness as a student. The last, and it's a special one for the students, keep a check on your phones and laptop. Make sure that they're clear and there is no information which can land you in trouble. So whatever discussions you're going to do before coming to the US, keep it limited to the course at the university. Avoid any discussion about internships, placements, and even on-campus jobs. So these are the guidelines as per the visa category. I hope you found it useful. We've also put together all of this in one neat PDF. You'll find the link for this in the description box below. It's a free PDF. Make sure that you download and you prepare from it. Now I'm going to discuss some general guidelines which are going to apply to all the visa categories. First is make sure that you do not take any banned items into the US. There are certain items that are banned from entering into the US, particularly dairy, poultry, fresh fruits, vegetables, certain grains. And you need to be aware of these and make sure that you're not carrying any of it in your handbag or in your check-in luggage. So in the immigration PDF that I just spoke about, we in fact have the entire list of these banned items. So you can go through it and completely avoid it. The second general guidelines is for phones and laptops. So phones being searched, laptops being opened and checked is becoming increasingly common. So do a quick sweep of your phone and laptop. Make sure that you do not have any information that could land you in trouble. And whatever information and discussions you've been having on your mobile phone or your laptop is within the visa category that you're going to be traveling for. Third, and this is really important, you need to know your rights when you enter the US. When the CBP officer questions you, you have to remain calm and confident and just answer clearly. There are many people who haven't done anything wrong, but they just lose their confidence and they just get so tensed where they end up saying something or end up not showing what they are carrying with them to the CBP officer. So know your rights, have all your facts in order, organize your documents properly so that whatever question is being asked, you are able to answer it factually and completely and support it with the required evidence. So this is all the information you need about clearing your immigration interview when you land in the US. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. You can also DM me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at shachi.my. And do check out all the free resources we have for you. And you can also get in touch with me for a detailed one-to-one prep for your visa as well as for your immigration. And every day is a new day right now because things are changing so rapidly. And we're going to keep you updated with all the recent changes that are coming up. So make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one. Signing off for now.